Hi everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for this webinar today. A few housekeeping items before we start. You will see in GoToWebinar, you can already download the slides in the PowerPoint version or in PDF as you prefer. Also, there is a questions area, so please feel free to send your question. We do our best, from best of our knowledge, to answer those questions. If some of them are too technical, we will answer back in the following up email. In this email, you will also receive the recording and the slide again for you and be able to reuse with your customer. So that being said, we will start the recording. Hi everyone, and thank you very much to join us for this webinar today on Microsoft 365 and why this is the big things that is coming for you MSP and why Microsoft is pushing so strong on it. So we'll do our best today to equip you on the product, equip you on the marketing side and pitch, so you feel free and confident to equip your customers with those solutions. I'm Cyril Courrée, product manager for productivity at ShareWeb. I am in the IT industry for over 10 years, graduate in France, then worked in Ireland in big IT company, then came to Canada, with ShareWeb. Very passionate about technology, very passionate about the power of those solutions to really equip our customers. So very happy to be here today. I have with me Alex Painchaud.
Hi everyone, really nice to be here today. My name is Alexandre. As Cyril said, I work in marketing for ShareWeb. I've been working here for almost 2 years now. And before that, I was working in the IT industry for a software development company, taking care of their marketing as well. So it's definitely a field that I'm passionate about. So I'm glad to be here today.
Okay, thank you very much. Someone just, Alexandre, maybe we can fix that. Someone noticed that the slides that they are in the handout are for Power Apps and not for this session. So maybe something that we can double check. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for showing that. So let's move, and here we go. So very quickly with ShareWeb, born in the cloud, 1998, really offering web hosting. Then after software as a services, it was the beginning of software as services with Hosted Exchange. We have now over 5,000 partners and manage over 50,000 organizations. And together, we are the biggest reseller of Office 365 in Canada and in the top 5 in US. We have 650 plus staff. I would say a big chunk of it is really about tech support, so a lot of Microsoft certified. We actually have 9 Microsoft Gold competencies. So that makes us very close to Microsoft and getting a lot of love from them. One of big part of our offer is really assist, I would say, resellers and provide you the kind of the one-stop shop experience, providing you the best solutions that you can have ready for you, the solution that you can provide for your end customers. So we provide the entire Microsoft CSP, so Office 365, Dynamics 365, Azure. We have our own infrastructure as service and cloud PBX solution. We provide backup, e-learning, and other solution. Always trying to bring the latest and good technology. So if you have any offer or any product that you would like to see on our shelf, really don't hesitate to comment in this webinar, and we'll take that in consideration. So that being said, let's stop speaking about ShareWeb and us, really go on the subject. So today it's Microsoft 365 business. So we'll go in a product way. What is it? What it means? What are the benefits for your customer? But what is the opportunity for a reseller and an MSP? Alexandre will walk us through the way to pitch it, giving you some tips, showing you the plays and kind of collaterals or assets that you can leverage from Microsoft. So really, what is Microsoft 365? And if we step back, I think I'm not wrong saying it came in 2016. It was announced in Inspire in Washington. And it was really, when it came, we all get pretty confused about this great name, Microsoft 365. So since that, the pitch really sharpened. And what we're going to show you is that now we're going to show you the new version, the way that the pitch is presented. It's very interesting. So when you think about Microsoft 365, and there is an easy way to understand and present it. It's really the best of Office 365, so all this productivity collaboration suite, and bringing the best of advanced security and device management that every SMB and partner actually needed to provide the right level of administration and security they need to provide to those organizations. And those elements really become important, you know, when you need to decide the step further that you want to go over just setting Office 365, and you really want to provide a managed solution and something that cover all their needs. So when you look at those points, you know, we'll go in the next slide in some of them. We'll provide you a lot of content that you can reuse, but we'll focus in some of those features more in details, so you can feel confident to go to your customers and equip them with those solutions. So really, why the Microsoft 365 business? And if you look at the traditional way that Microsoft products are pushed today, the cloud product is really customers and resellers, they go to Business Premium or they go to Office 365 E3. But actually, SMB organization have bigger needs. They need to be secured, internet and all these things and all the attacks, and we see that almost every day, I think, in the news, you know, it's not secured anymore. It was probably never secured, but now it's really strong at this time. SMB organization, as any organization, need to be secured, need to have the right tool to be productive and the right tool to manage their infrastructure. And here what you really get is those core features that back this story that everyone need to be secure to run his business and protect his data. On the left part, if you look, there are I would say what is within Office 365, you know, and what are the most important for SMB customers. You get data loss protection. This is really about how to identify and protect information within your organization to be sure that they don't leak out. And a very good example is if you work with a social security number, you want to be able to identify those numbers that they should not be in an email and stop this email from going out. The other features, exchange online archiving. Depending on your industry, this one is extremely important to be compliant. For example, in the financial industry or in the healthcare, we'll go a bit more in details on what it means for you. Then Office message encryption. This is all about encrypting email and getting by default easy features so you can block, for example, do not forward, or you can easily encrypt those emails. So that's really the one I would say that they are in Office 365 and make a lot of sense for SMB. If we look at the right side, actually those ones, they are only available in Microsoft 365 business. So let me have a laser point, would be easier for you to follow. Advanced threat protection. This one is really about how to enable customers to stay safe from malicious links and email transmitted through email. Azure Information Protection. This one is about taking I would say the encryption and classified capability of Office message encryption and bringing that to all the Office documents in your organization. And then Intune, simply about managing personal device. But the key here is that you want your data, your company information to be secured, and you need to be consistent of, is it a corporate device? Is it a personal device? You want to have this overview of management. So if we go deeper in some of those features, and this one is just more an awareness, at the end you get a lot of content on how to learn more on specific webinar or getting more information like articles. So when you look at data loss protection, keep in mind it's about protecting sensitive information. Good example is social security numbers, credit card, health record. The way it's working, it's a policy. So first of all, you need to know where to apply the policy. So for example, I want to apply this policy in Exchange Online. Means when I send an email, I want to be sure that we apply this policy. And then after the two condition and rules is really about, the first is the condition. So what condition has to be reached for this policy to trigger an action. So for example, I have a social security numbers in one of the documents. That's the action that triggered the action that, for example, I will block access to this document and I will send an email to the compliance officer. So that's a very good example of what you can do with data loss prevention and how you can really protect your company and your end user organization company about sensitive data that should not leak out of the organization. If we look at the Office message encryption, it's really about encrypting email. What I really like about it is Microsoft, the way they present it. So you might have the best compliant tools and features. If you don't display it in the right way to your customer, they will just don't use it and don't understand it. So here, the do not forward and encrypt email, it's very easy for a user to get access to it and learn how to use it properly. So that's really the two main default that they come. Of course, that be custom. And something very interesting, when you run with Microsoft 365 Business, it comes with Azure Information Protection. And that's giving you an additional feature. And I think this one is great. It's all about labeling. So now you are able to, you can label this email as confidential or ID confidential or unemployees. And based on this label, Microsoft Office message encryption will kick the right rule that makes sense for this email. So let's give an example for here. You are an Office 365 users and someone send you an email that is encrypted. What you will see in Office 365, it's a banner saying, hey, this email is encrypted. But if you send it and you access it, for example, Gmail or Yahoo, what you will get, it's a link. So you can sign in with your Office 365 credential. If you are out of those two options, there is still the capability of, hey, I receive an encrypted link, but I'm not part of your organization. Provide me a one-time passcode and I will be able to open this email. So very powerful features that you can provide to an SMB. It's not because they are a small company that they don't have the security requirement or compliance that they need to follow. If you look at Exchange Online archiving, and I think this one is extremely important because this is about compliance. So with those features, you can follow the up to 7 years archiving that is applicable in a lot of industry. And also there is great features. So for example, as the archive gets filled, it will automatically create an 100 gig archive. So still a document that as a site that can be managed. Other great features, we are not going in details, but in-place e-discovery. This is really critical when someone comes to audit and you need to find a document or something bad happened and you need to find a document. So really an advanced tool that small business and medium business cannot ignore to be compliant for their industries. Advanced threat protection. I'm pretty sure you are hearing this name all the time. This is now the most common, I would say, attack and the way customer and end user fall in those attacks. So this one is really all about really keeping your customers safe from link and files that they were transmitted through email. So here you get the different features. You have a link if you want to go deeper, but it's really about scanning the email attachment and let you know that this is not safe. It's also scanning the URLs, and those ones are really vicious. If you think about it, like it's for an end user, it's really hard to know that, oh, this URL sounds weird, or maybe the domain send me something is not right, you know? So here what you get on the screen is an example of alert that the end user gets saying, hey, this website is classified as malicious. You should not go there. You still have the capability to go if you are confident, because we all know that some of the websites we use, they don't have the right certificate. But here you have been warned. You are going in a place that is not safe. A great feature is that you can apply ATP to your online library. So it means that you can be confident that all the documents that you leverage in your organization, they are safe. And you are not going to be the, we call that when there is a virus, the number one patient.
Patient zero.
You are not going to be patient zero that transmitted that to a bunch of users in your organization or outside. Also, there is spoofing intelligence and anti-phishing capabilities part of ATP. Azure Information Protection. This one is really about classify and label document and emails so you can provide the right rules. And the same we seen in the in the Office encryption message, you know, an important thing, and I think they really nailed it, is you need to provide the classification and the tool to the end user. They are the one that need to say, hey, this content is confidential. You know, this content is critical. It's my P&L. We get the cost and the profitability. So here, it's a good example on how easy it can be for end user to decide the sensitivity. And based on that, then in the back, there is an intelligence of saying, no, for this sensitivity, just the C-level can edit the document, or just the C-level can print or forward this document. So very powerful. And again, if you think about it, it's not because you have less than 100 users and you are a small business, medium business, that you don't need and you don't require for your business those features. So very important to keep in mind. You can provide security when it makes sense. It's not all the business that need this level, I think. It's not true that everyone needs very advanced security thing, but when it makes sense, it's accessible and is there, and even for an SMB. Important things, all the protection, so the data, you know, follow the document. So it's great, okay. Alex decide that this document is very critical, but what's happened when you want to send that to email? The flag is there. So you can really be consistent on the way you protect your document. Also, by default, Azure Information Protection is enabled. So that's very interesting. Even if you don't go in very deep and customized settings, you will get the default one that protect most of the customers. It's very, very interesting, in my opinion, those features to protect data to don't leak. Intune, don't get confused. This is not about managing your music. It's really about managing your corporate device and personal device. If you think about it, and we are all a very good example, everyone can install on his Android, iOS, he can install Outlook for Android, getting his email, clicking on link that they are unsecure, sending document. For example, I'm very heavy user of Microsoft Teams. I love the app. But with this great work comes great responsibility, because now in my Android, I get access to a bunch of documents that are very sensible. And if my phone is not secure, I'm putting the data of the company at risk. So here it's really about that, being sure that everyone is secured, follow the rules that you set up. And Microsoft really nailed it here. So they spend a lot of time, and they came with 140 settings that make sense to protect your company. And those one actually, they are under 14 predefined toggle. So very easy to select the settings that you want. And of course, as a partner, and I think for all those features, you have the capability to custom, bring your expertise on security, bring your, you know your customer, you know on what they need to be compliant, what makes sense for them. And of course, you can custom those things. For Intune, it will be managed through the Intune portal. Good news for you, if you go to Microsoft 365 Business, it's coming with a full license of Intune. So you can go and custom those rules to make sense for the end user. So now if we look really at adding all those features, and we didn't go deep in purpose, it's going to take forever. If you have to go very deep on ATP, for example, at the end of the slides, you get a link. It gives you a lot of documentation and a specific webinar. On this slide, what we're trying to show is that for an SMB company to be secured is taking all those features, you know. And if you look at it, Microsoft is saying that if you take all those features from a third party, it will cost you between $75 to $100. And if you think about it, it's way more than that, because now you need to be able to understand each of those solutions, and be able to administrate them, and be able to integrate them. So if you think about it, you have a headache that costs way more than $100 in the admin side to make these things work. So Microsoft, those guys, super powerful. They have a big wallet. They can purchase technology or develop technology. And what they do, if you look at the Microsoft offering, is really bringing all those layers. Great advantage. They all sync together, and they all come here, for example, in Microsoft 365 Business, under this crazy level tag that is $20. So if you think about it now, you can offer a better level of security and features, and I would say way better, because now it's single and an integrated solution, but all this under this price tag of a $20. Of course, this line can be challenged. I would say on the $7,500 capability. Yes, some provider provide better features, but if you look at what a customer need and integration, I think it's making a lot of sense. And to be honest with you, it took me a long time to realize that. When I see Microsoft 365 first time coming, I was like, oh, this is a great way to make me pay Windows 10 as a recurrence. I didn't see all those great security features. And I think that Microsoft did a good job at sharp the pitch and show that it's all about security and managing data in the right way. So now that we've seen those things, how to choose the right product and decide what makes sense. So here we took this slide come from the licensing. So here it's really giving you an easy way when you need to have discussion on features and know what product to push. To go in a view that is a bit more simple, it's really the one comparing E3 and Microsoft 365 business, because here there is a very big play at this time. The tag price is really good, and when you think about it, for the same price you can go way more advanced in the security and in the device management of those organizations. We'll go on what differentiates E3 and why in some case making sense, but here I think this slide is very important that show you for the same price you can really secure those organizations in a different level. So here I'm putting back this slide, and I think it's very important when you drive the discussion of people going traditionally to business premium and E3, those features are really what's going to back your story that you need to be more secured, and Microsoft 365 Business is the right solution. So I'm really putting back that to you so you feel confident on that. Here's some example on why sometimes E3 make more sense, and that's fine, that's correct. You know, if you still want to go to the Microsoft 365, there is an E3 version, not the same price tag. I think it's about $32. Yeah, $32. But here's some of the example. The one that is obvious, over 300 users. So if the organization is over 300 users, you cannot leverage Microsoft 365 Business. If the customer need the shared computer activation, so here it's about when you leverage virtualization, let's say, you get people on shift, many people using the same computer or people using a lot of different computer, they will need the SCA to be compliant. If you use RDS, that's a good example. You need Pro Plus, and Office 5 Pro Plus is part of E3. Another one is when you need enterprise cloud voice. So that's really about the PSTN and coding through Skype. And the last one is really when you are in an hybrid environment. So you are still on-prem, but at the same time with Office 365 in the cloud, you need those CAL to be able to be in this hybrid. So that's really the one that makes sense. So now we'll go give the mic to Alexandre. We'll go to the business opportunity, or you can pitch, and after we see together if you have more question on those. Thank you.
Perfect, Cyril. Thank you very much. That was very informative. So I see a few questions in the chat. We'll try our best to answer them as they come. Just keep in mind we'll have a session at the end where we can tackle those.
Also, we updated the slides.
Yeah, so the slide decks at the beginning were not the correct ones, so we modified that, so it should be good now. Okay, so what's the business opportunity for MSPs? If you look at the title of the webinar, why Microsoft 365 Business is the next big thing, well, obviously that's sort of, that makes it interesting, right? So why is it the next big thing? So we'll go into that right now. There are two things about selling Microsoft 365 Business, in our opinion, here at SureWeb. The first one is very obvious. It's the monthly license. So you're selling a higher SKU. It's going to be more expensive, meaning you're going to get more revenue and you're going to get more margin. But that first reason is not really the reason why I'm saying that it's that interesting. The second reason is the recurring services. So as you can see on the graph here that I'm showing, we have three columns. We have the column where we're selling Exchange Online, the one where we're selling Business Premium, and the one where we're selling Microsoft 365 Business. Now, obviously, as you move from left to right, you see that the monthly license goes up, and that's pretty obvious. But you also see that the recurring partner services go up, And that's really where the important part is. That's where you're making money. So for example, if you're selling Microsoft 365 Business, now you're opening up the door to having services around device management, more services around security, around compliance. And that's where the money really starts coming in. And later on the presentation, we'll link that with the concept of bundling. But if you had one takeaway to take from this slide, is that it's all about the services. It's not about the license. Okay, so how do you pitch Microsoft 365 Business? So I think most of you will be convinced that it would be a good thing to add to your business, but it might not necessarily be easy to pitch the solution. So we'll go deeper into that, but before I think we need to take a step back. We need to target the right customers and offer them the right message. And here's a slide provided by Microsoft, which proposes 3 different plays for 3 different types of customers. So if we go from the left to the right, we have Y Cloud, which is the first one, which is targeted at customers who are hesitant about moving to the cloud. We have security, which is talking to customers who are comfortable with the cloud, but now want to hear more about security. And then we have teamwork, which is somewhere in the middle, where customers are comfortable with the cloud, but they might not be as used to the idea of collaboration, of communication within the enterprise, and teamwork in general. So if you were to take your whole customer base right now, you would be able to fit your customers into one of those plays. And that's one of the things we'll advise you moving forward, is to really do that homework yourself and see which customers am I talking to about the cloud, or which ones am I talking to about security, because pitching them the right play, if you will make a huge difference in your success rate. So if you're having trouble deciding which customers fit where, you can use this little graph here. It's very simple, but I think it gets the job done. You have 2 axes. You have the cloud comfort and tech use, and then you can place your customers based on that. So for example, if a customer is not comfortable with the cloud at all, and I'm sure you have those, and they're not comfortable with tech in general, then obviously those would be a Y Cloud play. So you wouldn't try to pitch Microsoft 365 Business to them. They're not there yet. You'll just confuse them. It'll scare them. So with those customers, you should start from the beginning and just talk about why is the cloud good, and just in general. And then you have those customers on the other hand that are comfortable with the cloud, that are comfortable with technology. Now those, it would be a mistake to talk about just the cloud with them, right? Because you're missing out. Now you need to talk about security with those. So I would challenge you, after this webinar, whenever you get a chance, just try to map your customers on this scale, and it'll make the rest of the process much easier. So in terms of targeting, if we go a little deeper, so let's say that you mapped your customer and you know which ones you want to target with your security play. Now, more specifically with Microsoft 365 Business, we're looking at companies between 25 and 300 users. Obviously, the 300 seats is the limit because you can't go higher than that. And then the 25 is sort of an arbitrary rule. It can be, there can be exceptions where if you have customers that are in regulated industries, you might go a little lower because they have more security and compliance requirements. But usually what we've seen is that partners have the most success with SMBs between 25 and 300. And then obviously if you have clients in the financial services, legal, consulting, all of those verticals have had tremendous success as well, again, because of the high regulations in those industries. So then within this segment, you need to choose a profile. So what's your customer's situation? Are they a customer that's been on business, Office 365 Business or Business Premium, and now you think that they're ready to move? Are they customers that have been looking into switching to E3? And now you have a really easy pitch of saying, well, if you're going to E3, you should go to Microsoft 365 Business. Are they customers that are using EMS? And now it's going to be the pitch where you're going to say you need to integrate EMS plus your productivity into one solution, and that's Microsoft 365 Business. So the point is here, when you can identify the profile, then you can follow up with the right pitch. And finally, use market moments. That's sort of a very Microsoft term. What it means really is just to sort of ride the current wave. So what's hot in the market right now, and use that to drive the conversation. The best example of this is security. Security is a big issue. It's been for a few years now, but especially in 2019, we're seeing a lot of articles come up every day about that. So it's going to be pretty easy to engage a conversation with a customer around security, and it's going to help you. Open new doors to selling Microsoft 365 Business as well as your services. There are others such as compliance, with GDPR and the support. So just decide which ones you want to use, and then you get the conversation started with that. Here we just have like more specific scenarios. So for example, we have the customer that's on Business Premium. They want to move to Microsoft 365 Business. What should your pitch be? Well, you should be pitching this advanced security. If you have, for example, number 3, you have someone on Exchange Online Plan 1. Well, this specific case might be a little harder. You might want to move them to Business Premium before and convince them of the teamwork play. And then once they're good with that, then you might want to move them to Microsoft 365 Business. So this might be a 2-step process, and it might take place over the next 2 years. The point is you should take all your customers and really have a plan for each one of them, and then follow that plan and pitch the right thing at the right time. So here we have just like 2 objections that you're going to see. This one has been covered by Cyril pretty much. So you might have customers that will ask you, well, is it really worth the price? So I'm paying $12 right now, for example. Now, I'm going to pay $20. Is it really worth the price? So of course you can go and say, well, you're getting a bunch of things for just $20. That's good. But I think the key is really to make them realize that they are spending more money elsewhere. That all those third-party solutions, they might not realize because they're not grouped together, so they don't realize how much they're paying, but they are paying somewhere. So I would challenge them to say, well, how much are you paying right now for all of these? And then you come up with the number, and you're going to compare it to the $20. And usually, what we've heard is that the $20 is a lot lower, so that that'll get them to be convinced there. Then we have another objection, which is I need E3 because of the security features. And this one, in a way, is almost easier, right? Because you can just say, well, as we've seen in the slides before, you get everything the same with E3, and you get more with Microsoft 365 Business. So this one shouldn't be a problem. This one should be pretty easy to tackle. I would advise even using the slides that we have in this deck. You can take them as is and just present them to your customer. Sometimes when you have it like in a visual way, it's going to be easier. So this one shouldn't cause you too much problem. So Microsoft 365 and bundling. I just wanted to add this part here because we had a webinar 2 or 3 months ago here at SureWeb where we talked about bundling, right? So SureWeb launched a new bundle that includes security, backup, and training. And we talked about how bundling in general is a practice that will allow you to increase your margins and overall become more profitable by offering more services. So I wanted to sort of tie it in with the subject today because I think it fits very well. And one thing that we said in this webinar is stop selling Office 365 and start selling managed productivity. And managed productivity being the whole package, which includes Office 365, but is not limited to Office 365. So it's really this idea of getting away from just the product and focusing more on the value. And we could update that pitch right now for this webinar and say, don't sell Microsoft 365 and sell managed productivity. And that's the point that I really want to hammer home is that you don't need to go to your customer and say, hey, I want to move you to Microsoft 365 Business. Instead, you could say, hey, I want to upgrade your package and offer you more security and more, just a better package overall. And the way I'm going to do this is, using Microsoft 365 Business along with other things. So I think the focus should really be on the value that you're giving to your customer and definitely not just on the product. So just a reminder of what is managed productivity. Managed productivity has three layers. The first layer is the core product, the productivity product, which is either Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Then we add a second layer of products, which could be security, it could be backup, it could be training. Here at SureWeb, we have all three. We have a security product called Office Protect, we have an online backup, and we have a training e-learning platform called Quick Help. And then the third layer, which is the most important, is your services and expertise. So you're adding the third layer, and that's where you create the whole package, which you're charging for, and that's called managed productivity. Notice how different that approach is to just selling Office 365. It's going to be much more profitable, and you're going to see great results with this. Here, I just wanted to just have a quick detour in terms of what is the difference between Office Protect and Microsoft 365. I'm sure a lot of you on the call today have heard about Office Protect, and I thought it was important to sort of distinguish what the two are. So the first thing is that they're very complementary, right? They don't do the same thing. Office Protect will allow you to set all of your security settings from one point of view. and then it's going to allow you to monitor your account. Whereas Microsoft 365 is more helping to protect your account, protecting documents, everything that Cyril mentioned, which is not necessarily redundant with what Office Protect is doing. So what we're advising is definitely to use both together, and then you're going to be able to just offer a better security offering if you're using both together. So Office Protect is definitely not a replacement for Microsoft 365, and vice versa. So here, if we want just to get more into details into what a managed security offering could be by using Office Protect and Microsoft 365 Business. So if I'm taking you through the slide, you see on the left, we have a large list of items, right? And those items are services that you can offer to your clients. So for example, prevent logs not being captured, block email attachments known to be bad, protect against ransomware. Those are all things that you can go to your customer and say, hey customer, here's all that I'm doing for you for security, right? And the list is overwhelming, and that's sort of on purpose because you want to show them that you're doing a lot. You're making sure that all the bases are covered. Of course, it's never 100% sure with security, but still you're doing a lot. So then you can charge a monthly fee for that and call it managed security, right? Now, what's interesting is that all these things that I put on this slide are made possible by Microsoft 365 Business and Office Protect, and they're doing all the work. You don't need to do much to get all of this. So it becomes really profitable for you as a partner because you're charging a monthly fee for that, but you're letting the applications do all the work. And so if you have questions on that specifically, we're working right now on building a model on how to build proposals around managed security and managed productivity. It's definitely something that we'll be working on in the next few weeks. But if you have questions, definitely reach out to us and we can explore this a little deeper. Then I just wanted to wrap it up by using this really simple slide because I talk about managed productivity a lot. I talked about managed security, and then you have your managed service offering. And I just wanted to clarify how that all fits together. So to be clear, we're not proposing you build like different bundles and different offers because that's just going to confuse the customer, right? So a typical MSP will charge, a monthly fee per user per month. Here I put 125. That might be on the higher side. It might be 100. It might be 75, depending on the region of the world and the competition. But the point is that you need to justify that amount. You need to justify to your customers why would they be paying that much. And the way you do this is by telling them exactly what's included. And then so what's included is, well, there's managed productivity included. There might be hardware services. There might be networks. So a bunch of different services. But within managed productivity, you have the managed security. So this is just a visual representation of how you can see it. I hope this clarifies a little bit. But yeah, and all of this is meant to make the conversation easier with your client to sell your managed services offer. So in terms of next steps, what we advise you is to, first of all, identify the right clients. So going back to a few slides ago, I had the little graph here where you had to map your clients. So really make inventory of all your clients and where they fit in this scale. And then start having conversations about security and mobility. So with the customers that you've identified as being most prone or the best customers, well, have conversations with them. Either send them, articles about security. Show them what you're doing for them for security. Make them aware that it's really important and that also you're on top of things. And then once you've had those conversations and you see that they're open to the idea, then you can start with your best clients and grow from there. So you don't need to target your whole base all at once. Not all of your customers will be receptive to the idea, but if you start with just 1, 2, or 3 really good clients, then you're going to get to know your stuff, you're going to get better, and then you can start applying it to a wider base. And then the final thing is just contact your account manager if you want guidance through the process. They can definitely help you doing this. That is, of course, if you're part of the SureWeb program. If you're not a partner yet, we have a slide a little later that will give you a link to become a partner. And this is the exact slide. I wasn't sure if it was right now. So here's the slide. You have a link there to join the program. Essentially, it's free. There's no commitment. There's no quotas that you have to meet. So it's really easy. You can sign up there. Once you become a partner, you'll get access to a bunch of resources. We have a toolbox here at SureWeb, which has a lot of documents that can help you go to market better with Office 365 and other products as well. So if you're not a partner, definitely look into this. And finally, I just wanted to talk about the a current promotion that Microsoft is having. It is US only, so all of you Canadians are there. You're not eligible for this promotion, unfortunately. But for US partners, there's 15% off the first year of Business Premium and Microsoft 365 Business currently. So a few details here. For Business Premium, it's only applicable to new customers. So it's not applicable for current users. But for Microsoft 365 Business, it is available for upgrades. So for example, if you have a customer on Business Premium, you upgrade them to Microsoft 365 Business, you will get the 15% off. This 15% can be applied directly to the customer, or you can take the margins for yourself. A lot of partners we've seen are taking the margins for themselves. Then another detail is that it's 1 to 300 seats. So there's a limit there. The offer runs until May 31st. So if you want to take advantage of it, you have to do it quickly. And then in the slide deck, you'll get a link to a page from Microsoft giving you all the details. The last thing is that you'll see the offer as well in Cumulus. It's going to be clearly identified. So when you add your SKU, you just have to add the promotional SKU, and that'll give you the better price. And finally, I just wanted to touch up on the Accelerate Cloud Summit that we'll be having on October 10th and 11th. I'm sure some of you on the call were there last year. It was a great event. We had over 200 partners, different speakers. It was a great chance to for me actually to talk to partners face to face. I saw that a lot of partners were talking to their account managers. They were talking to other partners. Great opportunity to network. And then the keynote speeches. We have different experts giving you advice on different topics. We've had really good feedback. So if you want to get your ticket. Right now, I know that there's an early bird registration, so you can get, I think it's $400 off the ticket, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a great chance to get on that. So now we'll move to the Q&A. Cyril, I think we have a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take you through a few slides. I'm not going to talk on them, but we've added some slides directly from Microsoft, which link to a few assets that could be interesting. Right now, I just see here the LaunchPad, which is an online tool that allows you to actually quote customers and build proposals. So there's a bunch of good things. So whenever you get a chance, you can look that up, and that for sure will help you with your go-to-market. Perfect. So let's open the floor to questions and answers. Cyril, I'll pass it back to you, and then just defer to me if you have a question.
Okay, so you leave me all the tough question on Windows 10, and okay, that's
exactly,
fine. That's fine. So I try to answer as many questions as I could directly in the tool. I will go maybe just through it, pretty quickly. Not going in the very technical one because we can follow up, or I answer directly with links. And actually, I'm going to send that to you, Alexandre. I answer, but I think it's interesting if you give your own answer. So Andrew asked a $10 million question. What do you recommend as a monthly service charge that I should charge per user for support?
For support for what specifically?
Really the managed services that you presented,
The managed productivity?
Yeah. So what do you think, what would be the right price tag or range that an MSP should charge for that?
Sorry, yeah, so that is a tough question. We're actually working through some numbers right now. From what I've seen, when we're talking about just the managed productivity aspect, I would say, $50 is a good range to start with, right? Because when you're thinking about, let's say that you have 125 and that's the whole package, right? That's only what they're paying. That's going to include a lot of different things, not just productivity. So I would say, a range going from 50 maybe to 60. Somewhere along that range. Obviously, you need to remember that within this price, there's going to be a $15 or $20 that's going to be Office 365. Then you're going to have different products that you're going to be bundling, so you need to consider that cost. And then you need to add all your time that you're going to be investing, right? And I've been reading a lot recently on MSP pricing, and a lot of things that come up is like you should price based on the time that you're going to be investing, right? So you shouldn't necessarily price based on competition, but you should price on saying, how much is that going to cost me? And then how much margins do I want? And then that should be the final price. So it's hard to give a specific range. It's going to depend. I would say 50 to 70, 50 to 60, along that range is good. But if you have, questions more in details, we're actually working on a model right now that will advise MSPs on pricing. So we should be coming up with a clearer answer in the near future.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So we got a couple of questions, similar questions. So people using terminal server, they use E3 today. They want to know if they can use Microsoft 365 Business. Answer is no, because actually what you are leveraging is what we call the SCA. I'm not sure exactly service shared. I'm trying to open the slide, but the SCA is really what you get in the Pro Plus that give you the right, this right to share, you know, those computers. So the answer is no, you cannot do it with Microsoft 365 Business. You can do it with Office 365 E3 or Microsoft 365 E3. Those names are killing me, like
it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's really tough. So that came many times. Then after, what the heck is Windows 10 Business? That's a good question, you know. So actually, what's happening in Microsoft 365? It's coming with the upgrade to Business, and what is? It's the upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. What they call Business is really Pro plus those cloud services, you know. So it's really, again, it's a rebranding, I would say we could call that. So it's really all the cloud services and device management. So Microsoft 365, that's Windows 10 Business. So you get Pro plus those cloud services. A question was, what are the difference with the enterprise version? So this one, I strongly invite you to just go to the Windows for Business compare page. Mainly it's about some Windows Defender capabilities and other, let's say, advanced features that you can get with Enterprise.
So Cyril, if I could just add on this Windows part. So if you notice, if you've been paying attention, you'll see that Microsoft, you know, back in the days, maybe like a year ago, were presenting Microsoft 365 as being Windows plus device management. So they had Windows in there with the plus. And now they're not using this anymore. And the reason is it was creating a lot of confusion because a Windows Home license, so the basic license, the business license, I'm sorry, of Windows was not included in the package, and that caused confusion within customers. They thought it was included and it was not. So what is included is the upgrade, as you said. So it's just one thing to keep in mind when you're pitching to customers, and not to drag too long on the Windows part, and focus more on the device management, on the security. And that's something that Microsoft has been doing as well. They've made the change recently.
Yeah, that's right. And I would say, you know, and I was frank earlier, you know, when I seen that, I was like, okay, great. Microsoft 365 is it's an upgrade of Windows 10 with my productivity features, you know. Also, they used to call that EMS, you know. I think it was more confusing. Now it's advanced security, and they go straight on the names. Some of those names are really industry names, so like a lot of sense, you know, when you have to understand and pitch that. We got the feedback, and I think it was from Errol, and I think it's very relevant, you know. So all those features are great on the papers, but it's true that you need education, you need to learn how to use it, and we do our best to trying to assist you on that. We are going to try to add additional services, but I was a partner myself, and I recognize that this is not going to happen tomorrow. You know, you can leverage some of those features that are easy, but it's true that some of them you need to play. Intune is a good example, as Cyril was writing. You need to test it. You need to do a proof of concept with a customer and seeing is the right match. What we are saying is really Microsoft came with this suite, with this bundle, make a lot of sense, providing you all those features with a great integration. But we're still speaking about technology. Nothing is magic, and it's true as the MSP, you want to own and you want to control what you are doing, and so that's the reason of the next step, you know, that you were showing. Learn more. Some of those features are really to set up, but after, yeah, of course, educate yourself, learn more, and try it, you know. But we know that's not an easy journey, as everyone wants to say.
Yeah, the good thing is Microsoft is giving out a lot of content on that specifically. I think they really want Microsoft 365 Business to be successful. So they're pushing really hard. That's good news for you, because you get a lot of assets, a lot of content. You know, just in the presentation we sent you, there are a lot of links. So I'm sure you can get lost in there and learn a lot. But there's definitely a lot to learn, and just the right way to pitch it as well is a whole different ballgame. But I think, you know, going back to the presentation, if you select the right customers, you're going to have a lot more success than if you just spray and pray, as we say.
Yep. Yeah. We got question like about what is in E3, is it included in Microsoft 365 E3? Best things for you is go back to the, the slide, the licensing slide, so you can really get the features you are looking for and really look at, is it the same? Short answer, at the minimum you get is the same than Office E3, then after you get more on security like ATP and this kind of stuff. So you better go to this slide and be sure that what you're looking for is covered. A lot of questions about Windows 10. Let me see if we answer everything. So the upgrade is really from a Pro version. So actually, if you have 7 Pro, 8 Pro, with this one, you get the upgrade to go to Windows 10. And then after it's labeled under 10 Business, and you get those advanced security features that we spoke about. Someone, and I think it's interesting, a question about, MSP, the way to charge. Someone flagged that if you have a single price, that includes license and services, you will have to have a sales tax. You will have to apply the tax, state sales tax for both. So there is still the way that you present it as a single price, and after when you invoice, you could separate definitely the services from the licensing. But we seen as the way you present it, if you really separate the license from the service, you give them a very easy way, how to say, we use in other webinar, you don't want them to go a la carte, you really want them to go, that's the managed services I offer to you, because we consider that's the level of expertise we can provide, and that's the content you need. If you give too much breakdown, it will be really hard to go against this behavior of, oh, but actually I don't need that, so let me erase it.
Yeah, and it's presenting it as the default, right? So it's not giving them 10 options and saying, because oftentimes as consumers we'll go for the cheapest one. So it's about making the offer as simple as possible. So if that means including the tax or whatever it is, and we'd love to hear your feedback on that, but it's making it as simple as possible and for the client.
Yeah, Cyril is giving other good feedback, so when you try to push Microsoft 365, it might be tough sometimes against traditional MSP because the different price tag. Again, and we know it's not an easy discussion, but what you really want to do is the same for the MSP. You really want to show the value that you want to bring and why it's making sense for the company. So the compliance, let's say, they have to be compliant on archiving and all these things. So yeah, it's a discussion that is more advanced than, and from what you say, you sound really knowledgeable about, and you do MSPs, but there is still a lot of users that they just push Office 365, and even those guys, they push it as a mailbox. So it's true that is a more advanced. I would say Microsoft 365 is really for MSP. It's giving you really a great set of tools, and the price tag makes sense. Even from what you say, there is a very good value for the price. Leveraging the promotion, it's a slide that we presented. It's very, very interesting.
And one thing I would add, Cyril, is if you're looking at your current base, it might be hard to just out of the blue say, hey, customer, I'm going to start charging you more for this or that, so that might be a tough conversation. So it's definitely, wait for the renewal. And then if you know that the renewal is coming up in like 3 or 4 months, then start ahead, make a plan of saying, okay, here's what I want to propose to him or to that client. And then you go from there at the renewal and really put forth the value. And then at the end, obviously the price is going to come and you're going to get pushed back on that. But I think planning ahead is definitely the good way to go.
Okay, then after a couple of questions, some people that they want to contact us directly. Let's go this way up. Let me put back our names. The way it's working at ShareWeb, first letter of the first name, then last name. So Courrée@shareweb.com, Painchaud@shareweb.com. If you want to contact us directly, if you have additional question, very, very, very happy to help you. Great. Looking at the different, I think we're good, Alexandre. Yeah. Some questions are a bit redundant, but yeah, I would say and I know it's not the easy part of our and it's not the most exciting part, but licensing, it's still important. So I'm just pulling back, getting lots of questions on that. I think it's a good table to help you really be sure that you offer the right one from the question I'm seeing now.
Perfect. So should we wrap this up?
I think we're good. So thank you very much for joining us today. We tried to do our best to wrap up a bit of summarize, those information from Microsoft. Really, I think leverage is nothing easy. We all need to work out on that. So really leverage those resources that are there. You can go pretty advanced. After you are the one that know best your business. You know the way. Just be aware Microsoft is pushing strong on that. We are seeing change on Office 365. Everything is pushed like that. So even if it's taking time, start to look at it. Take your time, but we all know Microsoft style. So let's be prepared, I would say. Any final word?
No, that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything. Thank you for being here, and look forward to speaking to you again.
Bon appétit, maybe.
Bon appétit, yeah.
That's the right time. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.